Some people will refuse to meditate on God's word because they're harsh to them. They're harsh to our way of living, or they call for us to turn away from some of our habits and our thoughts. Good morning. This is Pastor Ernie Lewis of the Blue Point Church in Sisney, Illinois, with your thoughts for Friday. When the wise Solomon introduces the book of Proverbs, and he calls for his people to listen to the wisdom that God has given them to share with others, he knows there will be those who are stiff-necked. That's like a horse that fights against the bits and the bridle, will not receive correction or even direction of any kind. He writes about the words that wisdom shares with us in Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 22. She speaks her words. How long, you simple ones, will you love simplicity? For scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. Turn at my rebuke. Surely I will pour out my spirit on you. I will make my words known to you. You know, the simple one loves their own ways. They despise what God tries to give them as far as counsel and wisdom that might direct them away from danger and destruction. Notice how satisfied they are in their destructive course they're following. He says, scorners delight in their scorning. In other words, they will find fault in everyone around them, and they'll think that they're the only ones that are really smart or maybe have taken the right path. He goes on to say that fools hate knowledge, which tells us that they're content to make up their own way. They don't want to know the truth. They don't need anyone else trying to give them wise counsel, which is directly opposed to their foolish ways. So for these people, to read God's word or to meditate on his teachings, they become angry. They become rebellious. They will reject anything that comes from the scriptures. God has warned them and us to turn at my rebuke, for God knows the kind of things that we will face if we don't. You know, there's a story about these two churches situated on a curve of a road, and across from each other, each pastor is standing out in the road holding up a sign for people who are coming that says, "Turn back now." The other pastor's sign says, "You are following a dangerous path." And of course, the scoffers just laughed and they sped on, not listening to this rebuke, until they got around the round of the bend and their car plunged off into a river. Because, of course, the preachers were trying to warn them that the bridge was out, but they didn't seem to listen. You know, when God says, "Turn at my rebuke," it is for our own good and a prosperous future he wants to give us. He even promises in this passage, "Surely I will pour out my spirit on you." Wow, even giving more direction and more wisdom, pouring it into our lives. "And I will make my words known to you." So God will fill our hearts and fill our heads with his wisdom if we'll only meditate on his word. Take the time to read and study, know what he has for us. So what about us today? Will we continue in our simple thinking, or will we turn to God's ways and understand that he has what is best for us?